Hey, so what's going on, everybody? I got a real interesting story for you today. I ended up taking my renter to small claims today and I won. That's right. I took my renter to small claims, ended up winning the claim. It was pretty easy, got a judgment against her. So I'm just going to share my experience. Hopefully it'll help you guys out in your process when someone damages your car or tries to run off on you. So let's start from the top. I had a rental with a young lady, and the young lady ended up returning the car to us. When she returned the car to us, it had a dent in the passenger side quarter pound. She was under the impression that she had full coverage insurance, when in actuality she had CDW collision. The policy was actually with rental cover. So with that CDW, they're only going to cover if it's in a 2-car accident. So if the car's just sitting in a parking lot like it was, or like she states that it was, it got damaged while the car was sitting in a parking lot. And because of that, rental coverage said we're not going to cover it because the coverage that she had was only for 2-car collision. So I explained this to the young lady and she just basically ghosted us. And so it got to a point where we're calling her, texting her, emailing her, trying to figure out how we can get this claim resolved in some type of civil manner. So we end up debiting her account, which we shouldn't have done because technically that's illegal per Visa and MasterCard regulations. Even if you have it in your rental agreement, you're not supposed to do it because that's not what the actual service was for. So you would need some type of okay or agreement or understanding from your renter stating that it's okay for you to debit their account for the damages that have been done. But we'll save that for another video. So we debit her account for $1,000. She goes back to her credit card company and tells them that this was fraud and that we were not allowed to debit her account. We actually tried to get the entire amount, which was about $2,800. She only had $1,000 in the account, so we debit the account for that $1,000. Lo and behold, a dispute comes in 3 weeks later. 2 to 3 weeks later, we end up getting a dispute in the notification from Stripe saying, hey, this was considered fraud. So we ended up submitting all the documents that we did have and information that we did have to try and win this dispute with Stripe. But we lost the dispute. After we lost the dispute, I think it ended up costing us another $50, $75, $100, something like that. So all in all, so far, we're out the money for the damage to the vehicle. We're out the money for the dispute, the chargeback as well. So fast forward, I decided, you know what? There's no point in me trying to chase this person down and argue and go back and forth. Let me just go to small claims and make this easier on myself. So let me say this to all of my rental operators, big and small out there. When you have all your paperwork and you are right, small claims is extremely easy and there's no point in you texting, emailing, doing all this stuff. You just have to make sure that you had all your ducks lined up previously and you did everything correctly so that small claims is a piece of cake for you. So we'll fast forward. First, I go to small claims or the small claims office to file. That's what you're going to do first. You're going to go to small claims office. You're going to file with them. Every state's a little bit different and the fees and requirements are going to be a little bit different. So because the amount was under $5,000, it's I think it was $60 or $80, something like that to file. And then I paid the sheriff $60 to actually serve her. So all in all, the court costs and everything was about $108. Now, once they're served, you need to gather up all your documents and information because the courts and the judge, they're not going to look off your phone for evidence. They're not going to look off your computer screen for evidence. They need physical, tangible documents. So unless you have like an audio recording or something of a conversation, then that's a different story. And even with that, those have different laws and regulations depending on which state you're in. You need to have all your documents already printed out because that's what the judge wants to see. The judge wants you to be very concise and to the point. They don't want to hear a bunch of fluff and all this other stuff. They want you to be very concise, direct, to the point, and you have to be able to support your points. If the other individual is lying, don't get worked up. Don't say anything because that doesn't matter. All you need to do is focus on you doing what's correct. And if they are lying, then you can show the judge and illustrate, hey, this is what happened and I can show this to you, Your Honor. After I filed the paperwork, she got served. I'm gathering and getting all my documents, emails, text messages and such together. I have the rental agreement, the chargeback from the credit card company. I have the insurance paperwork as well as the emails for our conversations, and the body shop's quote. Put all that in a folder, and I prepared myself for my court date. Now let's talk about the actual court date. So when you arrive, make sure you arrive early. You don't want to go in there looking and feeling frustrated or anxiety, especially if it's your first time going to small claims. I've been to small claims a few times. It's just that I've always been on the other side as a defendant instead of a plaintiff. So when you go to court, make sure you've already got all your dots and T's and I's crossed and dotted how they should be. Make sure you have everything organized. The biggest thing is you want to have a timeline. If you can articulate to the judge a timeline chronologically and your paperwork can match that timeline chronologically, then it's going to be easy for a judge or anyone with any type of sense to follow along and understand what's going on. So you want to make sure you're not going in there fumbling and bumbling with papers or trying to pull evidence off of your phone, because it's just not going to work, and they're going to either not give you the full amount that you're looking for, or they may tell you to come back another day. And so you don't want to waste time coming back and forth, because, you know, depending on where you live at, it might be months before you can actually get a date to take someone into small claim. The beautiful part about my situation was, because I was so organized and because I was so prepared, the judge said, hey, I want you two to go in the back and figure out an agreement. If you guys can't come to an agreement or understanding, then you guys can come back out here again and see me. So the defendant and I, we went into the back room. We started discussing, going back and forth about the situation. And she stated why she felt the way that she felt and why she handled the way she handled the situation, which was fine and dandy. I don't care about that stuff, though. I'm here to be very much so matter of fact. So how you feel and what you think doesn't matter so much as it pertains to the damage of the vehicle. I was explaining to her, I just want the car fixed. Like, I don't even want to come to small claims. I don't even want to file. I don't even want to have to deal with this, because it's just a waste of time, because I'm not making extra money being here, actually. I'm just trying to get the vehicle fixed and back on the road as fast as possible. So we spent about 10 minutes in the back discussing different scenarios, and I ended up selling with her for a little bit less than what the amount was. I was okay with that because it could have been zero and I would have got nothing. So I ended up selling with her. She got a discount on it, and I even broke it down into payments and said, okay, if we can have this done within 2.5 months, I'm all for it. Because what I was really shooting for was to settle and get this done in one lump sum, one payment, to make it easy on myself. But understood, because she had kids, it was Christmas time, it's a slow season. So I'm a very understanding person. You know, I get it. Everyone doesn't have just lump sum of money just sitting in an account. So we ended up doing a settlement. I did it in payments for her. So I told her, you're gonna have to pay X amount every month for the next 3 months. And you also have to cover my court costs. We wrote everything down and documented on the court filings. And so those court filings then get submitted to judge. The judge is going to sign off on that after we signed off on it. And the judge is going to mail, or the courts will mail that to me. And then I have to mail a copy of that to the defendant. What happens is let's say the defendant decides she's only going to make one payment or half the payments or no payment. What I would have to do then is go back to court and file for an asset recovery. And I would have to show my documents and evidence that the young lady has paid this amount or no amount, and then I would have to serve her again. So what happens with the asset recovery is, and every state's different, they will, if she has a job, what they will do is they will contact you and have you come to court. If she doesn't come to court when she's summoned, then they put a warrant out for your arrest, and your arrest will be the amount that the claim is for. So once they summons you to court, they're going to ask you to submit your job, and they're going to take money out of your bank account essentially, or off of your debit card, out of your check, credit card, whatever the situation is. So you want to make sure that you have all of your renters' information, where they live at. I get a verification of a bill sometimes to show where they live at, because you want to make sure that if you have to serve someone, that your servicer or the sheriff is able to go to that location and actually find them, because people may have a license that has an old address, and that address is their grandma's house or their parents' house or wherever. After I got the judgment, of course, I'm happy. Getting the judgment is one thing, getting the actual money is another. So she has until February to make all the payments back to us. The first payment is on December 27th. Her final payment is February 7th. We broke it down into 3 payments. It included my cost to file and my cost for the server. So let me give you guys the real game, because I'm in paid groups for the rental car industry, and I'm also in free groups for the rental car industry. I'm in some free private groups as well. But all too often I see individuals who have rented the cars out to someone and now the car is wrecked, totaled, damaged, what have you. And these people are taking thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars in L. Why? I have no clue. But the common thread I always see with these individuals is that there was smoke before the fire and they didn't extinguish it. So there was something janky about the renter, or the renter's insurance didn't seem real, or they were just too thirsty for the money and they were blinded by the potential renter getting the car. But in actuality, they just bought a headache. And so you have to make sure on the front end that you're making sure that you have the correct driver's license, that it's not fake, and that you verified that. You have to also make sure that you are getting all the correct information. If you need to get a bill from them showing, with their name on it, showing where they live at, maybe you need to get a place of employment, something so that you can hunt this person down or have your servicer hunt them down and serve them correctly. So that's a big piece there, is making sure that you're recording conversations, making sure that you're keeping text messages, making sure that you're keeping emails, making sure that you have all your evidence together so that in the event something happens, you're able to go after this person, and not only go after them, but you're able to go after them and win. That's the big thing, is we want the money. We don't want to be doing this and just spinning our wheels just because. I don't want to spend 3 hours out of my day at the courthouse. It's a waste of time for me, and it takes me away from my business, because once again, I'm not actually profiting from going to court. I'm just recouping the money that is deserved to us. And last but not least, I just want to leave you guys with a few notes. In my experience and what I've learned from this small claim situation is that, one, like I said before, keep your receipts, keep your screenshots, because people will lie, and there are people that are very great liars. Just because you're upstanding and you're a good entrepreneur and you're not gonna lie, that does not mean that other people won't. So make sure you have your documents and evidence in place from the get-go. Second thing is, stop arguing. You arguing and going back and forth with someone is going to solve nothing. You're literally burning up your time and they're stalling, because now you're fighting at their level. No one ideally wants to take off work if they work. No one wants someone to have to watch their kids or anything like that because they have to go to court. No one wants to be sued. So stop arguing with people. Stop going back and forth. Just, okay, they get to tripping. Okay, no problem, fine. Don't threaten them. Don't say you're gonna do this if they don't. None of that matters. Say less, because the more you talk, the less power you have. Do not speak. Just, okay, you don't want to pay? No problem. Give them a fair opportunity though, because that's the other piece. The court's gonna want to see, did you give them a fair opportunity to resolve this? And if not, then proceed. Next note, file quickly. Don't wait 6, 7, 8, 9 months for you to go and file. If things aren't going in the direction you need them to go, just go ahead and file. Why? What are you waiting on? There's literally no point on putting off the inevitable. You're just wasting everyone's time, including your own. Next note is, be sure to practice. As crazy as this may sound, you should practice in front of a mirror. You should practice in front of your spouse. Hell, even practice in front of your kids or your dogs, because you're going to be in the court and you're going to have to present this to the judge. You're going to have to talk to the judge, and you're going to have to articulate in a very good manner your case. Even with your documents and everything else, you still need to be able to articulate yourself in a manner chronologically that makes sense. Because if you're up there just saying a bunch of nonsense and it's not making actual sense, then the judge may not side in your favor because things sound a little bit off, or you may be trying to scam or something of that nature. So make sure that you can chronologically, in order, tell this story. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to paint a picture to the judge. That simple. Next note, know your worth. If someone disrespects you financially, just handle it. We're all entrepreneurs here. We're in this for money. We are for-profit businesses. And so you wasting time going back and forth with people and waiting and delaying, there's no point. Because once again, we're not making money going to court. We're just trying to recoup for damages. Hey, last but not least, I'm going to leave you guys with this. If you want me to make a video about the full process on how to file with small claims, just leave a comment below. I have no problem doing that. I'll make it quick, maybe like an 8, 10, 12-minute video about how you should process, which ways are the best way to process for your claims, because each one of those processes have a different process. So if you're actually using a processor, which is a third-party company, they are licensed and vetted through the state. They actually go out and process the submission for you to your defendant. So they actually go out for you on your behalf, and they will give the paperwork to your defendant saying, hey, you need to be on court at this date and this time. Another way you can go about it is paying the sheriff as well. I've had success with the sheriff. The only difference is the sheriff isn't going to go to the depths as a third-party processor. But if you guys want me to make a full video about how to do that, just leave a comment below and I'd be glad to do so. I'm Sterling with Pit Stop to Profits. Do not let anyone play with your time. Do not let anyone play with your money. Do not let anyone play with your business. Sometimes you just simply have to put belt to ass and get busy. So once again, I'm Sterling with Pit Stop to Profits. Make sure you leave a comment, a like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much.